let's do it. Chris, okay? All right. Let's call our September 29th Board of Public Works and Safety meeting to order here, please. Would you do a roll call, please?
Mayor Cook,
Here.
Jack Russell,
Here.
Jim Ake.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
Thank you. Let's ask for consideration of the minutes from August 25th. May I have a motion?
So moved to approve minutes from August 25th, as stated.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. Do any of the three of us have any questions, additions? Hearing none, I'll ask for a voice vote. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Approval of land sale, 145 South Union Street. Is that Mr. Lawler?
Yes, it is. As you may or may not recall, last year, I believe it was, we did an RFP to dispose of the parcels that we own north of the Jersey Street, which would be incorporated into the Union Square development. Old Town Development was the winner of the RFP, so they had the best proposal. They have requested an approval from this board to of the relinquishment of ownership of that to provide to the title company. Your attachment is the RFP in response. Effectively, we're just asking that you approve the sale of 145 South Union Street, which is more specifically this old building here. What used to be a fire station was the Historical Society, and then several departments of the city utilized this garage. It is completely vacant at this point. We do have a couple items that are stored in there that we will remove prior to closing of the sale. But to accommodate their request, we drafted this approval signing sheet, assuming you all approve us disposing of these parcels.
Something you've been working on a long time.
Very long time, yes.
Couple years.
Yeah, and Old Town is ready to move on that development. We no longer have a use for these parcels, and they will incorporate into something much nicer in the future.
And Mr. Lee, I assume we have followed the proper procedures in this? We have?
Because it's gone through the RFP process prior to, it's just the acknowledgement of that process.
Very well. So you will give your blessing on this transaction. Very well. I would entertain a motion to approve the land sale of 145 South Union Street.
I move to approve the land sale at 145 South Union Street. Jim Ake.
I second.
Second by Jack Russell. And does the board have any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, I'll ask for a voice vote. All in favor of the approval of this land sale? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Beverly, it's 3-0 on that. Professional services agreement on call by Clark Dietz. Mr. Lau.
Yeah, before you.
Oh, you might mention why your engineer is not here.
Oh, yes. I am having to do all of this work because Mr. John Nail decided to have a baby girl yesterday evening.
Excellent.
So he is tending to that situation, and we congratulate him for Miss Charlotte entering.
Charlotte?
Yes,
And I understand Charlotte was born with a PE degree.
she was, absolutely.
Good.
She'll be
we
on the
need-
payroll next week.
We need a couple, don't we?
We do need some engineers, which leads us actually right into the reason for this on-call services contract. As you know, we are experiencing record development throughout the city. We, in the Public Works Engineering Department, only have a single plan reviewer. We are actively working to find a second one to keep up with the construction plan review process. So in the interim, we we would like to engage Clark Dietz, which is a local engineering firm, in an on-call services contract to help with plan review. This is a not to exceed of $40,000. Much like our other on-call services contract, they will be billed on an hourly rate that's established within the agreement. This hopefully will help us bridge the gap between now and when we have a permanent plan reviewer, but also could be utilized in the future for things like re-reviews and/or our expedited review process. So here is your hourly rate calendar. We will likely not be utilizing principals, I hope. We will be using some of these lower rates. These fees ultimately will be paid by the developer. It will just ultimately minimize the workload of one John Rankin, that is our single plan reviewer. So with that, I'd ask for approval for an on-call services contract with Clark Dietz not to exceed $40,000.
Very good. I would entertain a motion for professional service agreement with Clark Dietz.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by, in the sky, Jack Russell.
Jack Russell.
Is there a second, please?
Second.
Second, Jim Ake. Any discussion from the board? Comment, if I may, Jeremy, is this we need another plan reviewer,
We do?
and have you budgeted for that in the 22?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, I think it's important to recognize that a lot of people have the impression that once something has been approved by the Plan Commission and the council, that's about it. And for not only your department, but for Kevin Todd and his permitting and the plan reviews himself, there's a lot of work that has to be done from the point of approval by council to opening the facility up, inspections all along the way, and plan reviews and landscape reviews and et cetera. And I know your departments, both of you, have been backed up immensely. It's a great thing,
Absolutely.
but I hope both of you have budgeted appropriately, because the developments continue to come in. And of course, we've been through a record amount of developments that literally, my observation has been, once something is approved, can be 2 years before your departments
Mhm.
issue a certificate of occupancy, and at that point are finished with it. So 2 to 3 years is a lot of lag time between approval and a final product,
Yeah.
so.
And there's a whole lot of work that goes in during that time, specifically with this one. We would previously overflow or have our previous engineers, Michael Pierce and Dustin Shue, assist John with some re-review stuff in times of real peak volumes. Both of them have since left the city, thus we don't have that to fall back on, and this will really help us moving forward, so.
Very good. Very creative. We're to the point of asking for a vote. I'll ask for a voice vote from the board. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? I heard no opposed there, Bev. Next item is Citizens Energy reimbursement agreement for signing at West Fork Whiskey. Please explain.
Yes, so in our future plan, we have a roundabout that would realign 191st to 193rd and Spring Mill Road to Horton Road to get rid of these kind of offset intersections, both for safety and traffic flow. As West Fork was coming through with development, we did not want them, we wanted them to go in the future right away with their utilities. Citizens was requiring them to go into a dedicated easement unless the city, agrees to pay Citizens for any reimbursement costs should we have to move their utilities in the future when we construct this roundabout. So we have actively ensured that this, we being John Nail, have identified the location for the utilities to go in this future right-of-way in a manner that won't require relocation later. So this is effectively, and it's a signing authority because the final reimbursement agreement has not been completed yet, but what it would do is commit us to paying for those if we have to relocate some of their facilities associated with West Fork Whiskey in the future when we build this. We're confident that there is no exposure there, so, but procedurally, Citizens still needs that to be able to put their sewer main in this future right-of-way, which you can see on the screen is already defined and dedicated as public right-of-way. The way that works, as you all know, is if utilities are in an easement and they have to relocate with a road project, the city is on the hook to pay for those costs. If they're in the right-of-way, Citizens is then responsible, or the utility, any utility for that matter, responsible for relocation costs. Citizens just wants to cover themselves to not have any exposure in the future. We're confident that we don't have any exposure either. So you would be giving John Nail approval to sign that reimbursement agreement once it's finalized and all done, so.
Okay, very good. I would entertain a motion from the board to allow Public Works to sign a future agreement for the Citizens Energy Authority within the boundaries that Jeremy just described. A motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve Citizens Energy Group reimbursement agreement for West Fork Whiskey Signing Authority, action item number 4. Jim A.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Jeremy, just out of curiosity, when you show that map,
Mm-hmm.
it's been a while, is Horton Road abandoned from 191 up to the new piece there?
It is not today, it will be.
But it will be?
Yes.
And what happens to the section of 191 from Horton to Spring Mill?
So essentially, we have a resident and a cemetery that are both connected to 191st Street. So there will be a section of this road that stays active in the future, but effectively it'll be stop controlled. There just will be very limited traffic. Excuse me.
Will
But
the
this piece will
intersection
remain.
of Spring Mill and?
It will be disconnected.
Okay.
So these folks either will have to go through the roundabout and come back this way to get to the cemetery and the home, or we will negotiate in an option that gives them a secondary access. Having
Similar to East Street
Correct.
you did up there?
Yep. So while under construction, they shouldn't be impacted, but this T intersection right here will go away, and this stretch of Horton Road will be vacated effectively to the adjacent property owners.
Great, getting to be a lot of traffic up there.
There will be a lot of traffic,
A lot
yes.
of traffic. Very good. Any other questions from the board? I'll ask for a voice vote on this agreement. All in favor? Aye? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear no opposed. Let's move on to agreed findings, City of Westfield, and looks like the Ferreros. Jeremy?
Correct, yes. So this is a condemnation suit for land acquisition associated with the 161st Street and Spring Mill Roundabout. We've been working on this a number of years. Design is essentially complete, and we are in land acquisition mode. The Ferreros, in particular, is this long stretch here of property that is utilized as a runway, but is also agricultural, so they keep some grass planes here, some small, I guess, just personal aircraft that they take off and land here. We needed to acquire this piece right here. We went through the normal acquisition process, issued $38,000 to the court based on the appraised values. The Ferreros appealed that, and the total just compensation was determined to be $75,000. So in order to settle this suit, This agreement, if approved, will require us to issue the remainder of that payment, which is roughly $31,800, and I'll find it, I promise. Yeah, $38,100 to the court, which is what we previously deposited. We will have to deposit $36,900 to settle the rest of that suit. Probably a better note, though, is that once this is all settled, we'll be able to construct this small trail connection right here, which gives these neighborhoods complete access up to the shopping center. So we'll be able to build that ahead of time, but the reason we acquired it is in advance of the 161st and Spring Mill Roundabout.
Very good. I would entertain a motion for this land acquisition. I will move. Andy?
I'll second. Jim
Second by Jim Ake. Any further discussion?
I have one question. Jeremy, when that happens, will you guys be taking out those trees right there too?
Are we referring to the buffer on either side?
There's a piece of it right there next to the road, both of those right there.
Yes.
The only reason I bring those up is because it's very difficult to see when you're trying to move, to pull out of that development just north of it.
Okay.
And we just wanted to see if that was okay. Like if you're trying to turn left out of that, right there, that South Junction crossing, it's real difficult to see
Okay.
till the last minute. So it'd be nice to see that kind of go away so you have some visibility left to right.
And the short answer is yes. As a part of our
Okay.
project, they would both be cleaned up. Now,
Okay.
we can do some of that stuff right now. I'll have to take a look at these plants right here in particular to make sure they're not part of a planting requirement associated with the development. But yeah, line of sight will be easy. It'll be much easier to maintain once we own this property, now that we own this property.
Okay.
So thank you for bringing that to my attention. I'll take a look at it actually this afternoon, and we can march ahead with that process, even in advance of this trail connection.
Jeremy,
Thank
do
you.
you have is there a proposed timeline on this roundabout project?
The roundabout is essentially ready for construction. We do have another piece of land up here that is in process. So honestly, we could build it as soon as there is a funding strategy. That was always our intention, get it shovel-ready. We are nearly there, and if council or someone else identifies a way to pay for it, then we will bid it and go to construction. We had contemplated this Spring Mill Station TIF as the funding source, and that can certainly be the way we go.
That is, the Spring Mill TIF is how you would propose it be funded?
Yes,
You will need,
absolutely. Yeah, I think it directly benefits this TIF area more so than anything.
Yeah.
It's easily justifiable as a TIF project. It would require bonding, a TIF bond to pay for
Yes.
it, because I don't believe cash is available at this
Okay.
point in time.
Will you be proposing that to the redevelopment commission?
Yes, as soon as I get the go-ahead that that's the direction we want to take, it would get proposed to the RDC.
Okay.
Great idea.
That would be most welcome for the residents over there. And that the construction of a pathway
Yeah.
through that area has long been needed. And I just appreciate your work on getting this done.
Yeah. And-
Go ahead.
We will do everything in our power to get this piece done. Not knowing the timeline on the roundabout itself, we will do our best to at least get a stone walkway through here so that there's access. But I think we can build it without it being impacted by the future road project.
Yeah, because people are walking in the street
Mhm.
now with it's muddy or raining. It's very dangerous.
Very,
So
very
I would
nice.
request from this board that you proceed with presenting a financial plan and get this underway as soon as possible.
Very good.
Can I second that?
Yes, you
So
can.
moved. All right, I will entertain a vote then on the acquisition of this property. Voice vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Nobody opposed. And we have an update on, next, on Station 81. Chief Reed.
Good afternoon, Mayor. So today, we're here to present the Phase 1 deliverables. And as a part of the RFP process, we have three options. One is to accept the report as is today, or negotiate some further modifications to the report, or cease negotiations. And so today, we're going to request that we continue to negotiate with the design builder, and we just have a few things that we need to kind of clean up and finish up, so that we can have a full report for you, okay? This is just kind of an overview of kind of where the site sits, off Ditch Road. Can you put that back out just a little bit? Yeah, a little bit out, for a little further out, I think, just to kind of give them a sense of that. So Ditch Road sits there to the west. The top is north, and that's retaining pond, that's 171st, right? School is just north of that. Kind of give you a sense of where this sits. So with that, that's really all we want to do, is just kind of bring you up to speed on this and just say we're still in the process of negotiating. I think I'm not worried about us in terms of any timelines or anything like that. I don't think we're going to be able to do two things at once. We can begin to kind of work on some of the Phase 2 components, finish up the Phase 1 pieces, and have something to you probably next month.
Very good.
Okay?
That's quite a project. Jeremy, well, let me entertain there's no action here, is there? Do we have to?
Yeah, I think so.
An
I think you
update?
should take
We need
action to
we need
basically
to
allow us
approve your
to
report?
Yeah, to
continue?
utilize option 2.
All
To
right.
say we're going to make
We'll do that. Let's ask the board for a motion to approve this report and to move
yeah,
forward.
per the RFP, we're going to utilize option 2.
Option 2 is what our chief is recommending. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved, Jermaine.
Second?
Second.
Second? Heard in the sky? And does the board have any other questions on this complex project? Exciting. I would imagine, Chief, that, the influence of COVID on your building design has had an effect. Is that right?
That is part of it. That is correct.
Yeah. Interesting. Jeremy, for you, on this property, will you eventually reutilize the somewhat abandoned 171st Street on the south border of this property?
Yeah, so the answer to that question is, a couple years ago, I believe, we structured an agreement with Beazer Homes that is developing this residential neighborhood to the south. This will actually turn into a pedestrian walking path that connects Ditch Road over to the 169th, 171st realignment. So it'll remain public right-of-way, so a public road up to the access to this residential property. Then it'll transition into a 12-foot walking path along here, and we have an agreement with them that they construct that. As you can see, we no longer have an intersection there. They've constructed this portion up to this point, and they are required before the end of the development to remove the existing asphalt that was 169th Street and construct a 12-foot path. If you recall, the original plan for this property was a park. We still foresee there being a park component located on this parcel, and this would be a great access to that and great connectivity over to 171, which has already got trails.
Do you still have in your mind long-term plans for a public works facility as far as especially west side, snow removal, salt, et cetera?
Yes, absolutely, and that was in the early conversations associated with the new fire headquarters. We were looking at a master plan that created a public works campus out here, most specifically a street, garage, and salt facility. I still would love to see that happen someday, Currently, as we are for our winter weather events, we partner with the state of Indiana for the use of this little hoop house, we'll call it, as a secondary salt storage for us. So that way, our west side snow removal team doesn't have to go all the way across the city under 31 to get back to our current location. So that will not last forever, because I'm certain that the state's going to expand their operations there.
Are they?
Yeah, when that building goes away, we will need to find an alternative solution to having salt out there as we continue to grow west. So
Is the pond that is on that
Mhm.
property large enough to accommodate what needs to be done with the fire station and any future improvements, or?
Yes, to my knowledge, it absolutely accounts for the fire station and potentially what we would do with Public Works. If you go way, way back, the school donated this property to the city. They had to acquire it to install this detention for their bus garage facility and the school to the north. So I don't have the exact calculations off the top of my head. I do know that we verified that it will hold what's necessary for the fire headquarters, and then you can see a couple low-lying areas down here that might work as future detention
Okay.
if we need it for a public works facility.
Chief?
Yeah, I was just going to say, because I also think that it also serves some of the neighborhoods too in terms of drainage. So if you do go expand that beyond what the fire station does, you're going to have to probably deal with some type of retention pond, another retention pond, or expand that, I think.
Well, that's large enough, you could do water rescues right on your own.
Exactly, and ice
Yes,
skating and all that.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you both. Any other questions from the board?
No.
All right. I guess where were we? Do we need a vote on this? Did we take a vote on that, Bev? Okay, well, let's vote on the accepting concept two. Option two on the Fire Station 381. Hear a voice vote. All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Like,
And any opposed? I hear none. Permit approvals. Duke Energy wants to do something again?
That is correct. This is Adam, called in today, Mayor. Duke Energy has submitted a permit application for East 196th Street between Tomlinson Road and US 31. This would be east of Tomlinson, and just north of the planned Chatham Villages multifamily there. They are proposing the installation of one new pole along with the removal of 10 existing poles, and we will end up gaining about a half mile of three-phase underground. But it will require just the installation of one new pole, but we get rid of 10 existing poles. And there would also be a couple of SMOD or above ground, the green boxes commonly associated with underground power installed as well. But we'll lose 10 poles in our right of way, which is a good thing.
So the pods and the one pole, will they be in a safe location, in your opinion?
They will be, yeah. They will be set to the back of, they've been designed to the back of the expanded right-of-way there, where
Okay.
the Chatham Villages multifamily will be. So, yeah.
You're happy with that?
Yep, it'll be a good thing.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to allow this encroachment application by Duke Energy on 196th Street. Motion?
so move.
Was that a so moved, Jack?
Yes, yes. sir.
Yes, Jack Russell, barely hear you. Second?
Second.
Jim A. Any further discussion from the board?
Looks pretty good.
Hearing none, we'll have a voice vote. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 Opposed? we're good on Duke Energy's permit. Any questions on the consent agenda? Entertain a motion.
Move to approve the consent agenda
Aye.
September
Second.
bond issue.
Second by Jack. Any further questions, board? Hearing none, I'd take a voice vote. All in favor, aye? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Don't hear anything. And let's have our reports. Chief Reed, you have anything else to add? I know between all the public safety people we had out at Grant Park going on right now is help me. It's MISO.
MISO.
Tell us about that.
Well, I wasn't there.
I know you weren't.
You were there.
I was there.
Essentially,
your
what-
people,
essentially,
yes.
it's all the public information officers within the Indianapolis area meet. This is the first meeting they've had in quite some time, probably well over a year because of COVID, obviously. And so this was the first meeting. It was very successful. A lot of good comments about the facility and food and all of that. So
Yeah, I talked to a lot of
thumbs up to
a lot of
Peg
people had
and-
never been there, but it was
Yeah.
all about how you, public information officers, both police and on the fire side,
Yeah, it's
coordinate better, and
it's a network.
press was there, but everything was off the record. I made sure of that before I spoke.
that was appropriate.
And, yeah, they were, it was, I mean, there was sheriff's departments and municipal police departments, Homeland Security, FBI was there. Yeah, it was an impressive group. And you hosted it. Thank you.
Yep.
Very proud of that.
All right. Thank you.
Chief Rush?
Yeah, unless you have any questions for me, and I really want to make you report on
Any questions from the board? All right. Mr. Lawler.
Sure, so we are wrapping up our East Street Extension project that goes from 190.
Driven it today, yes.
Yeah, it is open to traffic currently. There's still some construction activities, fine grading and finishings. We'll do an official ribbon cutting on that on Friday, but it is a big, beautiful road and a nice extension of that street up through North Point. Great amenity for the community, so if you get a chance to go up there and check it out, please do. Also underway is our roundabout at 169th and Spring Mill. It's going very well. And then also being built by the developer of Harmony, the roundabout commitment that they made at Ditch Road and 151st Street. So those are our active projects. Grand Junction's going gangbusters. Things are changing very, very rapidly out there, and we are still on track to open in mid-December. If you swing by, you'll see a stone facade going up on the building, the Plaza building, so the cafe, which will really, it looks like a black spaceship right now, but it'll start changing very, very rapidly, so that's exciting. Playground as well, you can see the magnitude of that playground with the support structure being installed last week. And other than that, it's normal business as usual.
Are there any landscaping plants left in Hamilton County?
Most of those had to come from outside of Hamilton County
can
because there are
imagine.
so many of them.
Very impressive.
But all of that stuff was ordered a couple years ago and grown specifically for our project, so.
Really?
Yes. So we should not be impacting our fellow development friends and otherwise with our project, but I believe there were 8 semi-loads of perennial plants. And if you drive by down there, you'll see where they all went, because there is a lot of plants out there. A lot of trees going in right now, which is exciting to see the finishings starting to come
Yeah.
about.
Very proud of your work there.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. Of course, I have couple other questions.
Sure.
I see you're getting rather active on 191 between 31 and Tomlinson.
Yes, that is the Chad Hiddle Roundabout Project is what we call it. It'll finish next year, but there will be activity going on up until then. It's a roundabout at the Chad Hiddle Drive, so entrance into the Chatham Commons development to the north, but it also expands that section of road between 31 and Tomlinson Road into a boulevard section. So it'll be a 4-lane section through there with the roundabout. And it's going well.
So this season, you'll do all the, in essence, the prep work, utilities,
Yep.
et cetera?
Most of the utilities are out of the way. There'll be a lot of subgrade work, grading, things like that. Potentially, maybe some temporary pavement. I wouldn't bet on it. It just depends on winter hits. But we will get everything prepared for our heavy construction in the spring, so we can get that thing done and open back up. Hopefully,
Before
by
major
midsummer.
season?
Yeah.
Yeah. And similar at 32 and Wheeler.
32 and Wheeler is underway as well. That is a intersection improvement project specifically for Tournament Trail and the 32 Wheeler intersection. So there'll be a new signal at Tournament Trail, and then some additional turn lanes for the 32 intersection to make that whole situation function much better. You can see that we've got the Tournament Trail extension over to what will be Grand Park Boulevard complete. This will create that connectivity. We'll be pushing the end of November before that's completely done. Well, before it's open to traffic, and then we will surface in the spring. But yeah, and then work continues on that road extension of Oak Ridge Road or Grand Park Boulevard up to Grand Park.
So the Tomlinson 32 improvements, you hope to get operational yet this year?
Yeah, so the Tournament Trail signal will be, and the lanes will be in with temporary markings this year.
Okay.
We don't know that we'll be able to get surface down because of surface temp requirements. I think we'll be too cold by that time, which I believe, and I can circulate the schedule if you haven't seen it yet, Mayor, but that means we'll be tidying things up and doing the surface and permanent markings in the spring, but otherwise it will be functional this year. Yeah.
And the Oak Ridge extension,
Mhm.
what's the status of that?
Well,
Grand Park Boulevard, I should say.
Storm infrastructure is in. They're getting ready to do subgrade treatment, so the lime stabilization. And then they're hoping to stone and maybe even get some asphalt down this year. Just depends on weather. But
And then that takes us up to 181st Street.
correct.
And
We-
what about,
North of
northern
that,
piece?
we are still working on some land acquisition up at the intersection of Grand Park Boulevard. To show you on the map to orient the rest of the folks that don't live it like I do. So imagine this is Oak Ridge Road. We'll extend a boulevard section from 32 up through the Wheeler Landing development. We'll get to here hopefully this year, and then this will ultimately extend up to Grand Park Boulevard and create a T intersection here. So we will have another north-south inlet and outlet of Grand Park traffic, which
So
hopefully will
would you-
de-emphasize Wheeler.
what would be your completion for the entire piece up to Grand Park Boulevard?
By summer of next year.
Somewhere next year?
Yep.
Okay. And just one other thing, I saw NDOT has a bid out for signal improvements on 32 in this area. Does that have to do with your projects?
It does not, to my knowledge.
Okay, I didn't know what those were.
Yeah, I am unfamiliar.
You know
with
how
that.
I read that stuff. so, yeah.
Yes, you read it very well.
Yeah. I'll ask them.
We will figure out the answer and I'll have it to you.
Exciting stuff.
All good stuff.
Okay, board, you have any other questions of our public safety, public works people?
I do not. I just want to commend Jeremy for all the work and all the projects that they've accomplished.
It's amazing.
And they simply done an amazing job. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We've got a great team.
I would like to comment too. We had some comments coming out of the Centennial subdivision about the entryway,
Mhm.
and you've been very patient and accommodating to those folks. And I know there was resurfacing done to the backside, but you're taking a look at other aspects over there, and you've done a wonderful job. You got a compliment today from an email with an individual that was very vocal about this, and you are to be commended, both your staff and yourself, and how they responded. Thank you.
He got a compliment? I want to see that.
I would like to see it also.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you all. Thank you, Bev. Kim, sorry, I've been saying Bev all the time.